This is not usually how we start out, but dude, I need to get your live reaction of this. And if you've seen this already, I'm sorry.
I hope it's what I think it is.
Dude, I really don't know if you could even have an idea of what this is. Okay, hold on. Let me turn this off. Did you see this video?
Taylor Lautner doing flips at the Eras Tour film. No, I've not. This was not what I was expecting.
Bro, this is the craziest thing I've ever seen in my entire life.
This is at the Taylor Swift.
Oh, shit.
Wait. I thought he was... Oh. Oh, my God. He just keeps, like, he does one flip, and then he just keeps doing whatever that is.
Bro, that is the most fire move I've ever seen in my life. Right here.
He still got some Shark Boy in him.
Hold on. This move right here. Like, that is one, his hand is going the opposite of his hips. That's like the equivalent of like rubbing your stomach and like patting your head. But like, bro, I don't know what the hell this is or what's going on, but he snapped, but for whatever reason he's at the movies doing this.
Yeah,
I'm low-key a little worried about him, but we can get into it. I just needed...
So, if you're him, why is that the first thing that you go to?
In what world are you just like, all right, yeah, like I'm about to just get up in front of all these people and just start doing backflips? Listen,
that's something that like Zach Bloor would do.
I could see Zach doing that for sure. Listen, completely random, but I saw that and I don't know what the fuck that was. It was great.
So the video that I thought you were going to bring up was Blueface at the Rams Steelers game.
No, I saw that.
Did you see that?
Yeah, I did see that.
I did want to talk about that because that's also hilarious. Yeah, I mean, he's treating it like he's in downtown Atlanta. Like he's
I would show it, but
Magic City.
I'm afraid that we might get...
Oh, we can't show it.
We might get like copyrighted or something. Or
yeah, I mean those girls are basically naked.
Yeah, he was throwing money on girls that had their pants down, and I mean it was interesting to say the least. But we can probably say that Blueface will be getting a letter from the NFL.
Probably, yeah, yeah. I would imagine Roger Goodell would have something to say about that. I can't. One, I'm surprised that we've made it this far without somebody doing that in an NFL suite, if we're being completely honest. And two, it's kind of lit.
Yeah, I wish I could do that, but I don't have any juice.
Or money.
To get into it, the first thing I want to talk about is quarterback overreactions, because obviously last night we watched, which I was a proud ticket holder of, the Vikings +7, and I should have bet their money line, but I let outside noise affect what I bet, but still had the Vikings +7. Obviously it cashed. I had Christian McCaffrey first half touchdown score, thank God, but
automatic
right away. After the game, everybody was like, Niners are frauds. Niners are this, Niners are that. Brock Purdy sucks. They were without Trent Williams and Deebo Samuel. Trent Williams is literally the best left tackle in all of football. And as you can tell, Debo is an extremely undervalued asset in the public's eyes because when he's not on the field, that offense looks completely different. So I think that the team is in a completely fine place. It's the NFL. I mean, bro, they just came off of playing look at what the Browns had to deal with on Sunday. They almost lost to the Colts. They actually got bailed out. And then you look at what happened with the Niners against the Vikings. Bro, they played in an extremely physical football game last week against each other. And you could tell that this week against teams inferior to them, that matchup the week before actually played a big factor into their performance.
Yeah, I mean, a couple things. Obviously, it's tough to go out there and not have your best offensive lineman and probably your second best offensive player. I think if anything, that game last night was more of a testament to Kirk Cousins and that offensive line rather than like should we be worried about the Niners? I don't think we should be. I still think they're a really damn good football team. But yeah, I think Kirk Cousins playing as well as he did is something that stands out more than the Niners losing that football game.
And I completely agree with you 1,000,000%.
Jordan Addison as well. Welcome to the show.
Great game.
He's sick.
Awesome.
Very. Yeah. I'm not really that surprised. A guy that did he win the receiver award? Yeah, he won that award in college. And
yes,
I mean, normally that means you're pretty good.
Yeah, he's amazing. He looks good. I mean, it's all setting up for the conversation that we've had before, that when the Vikings look to move past Justin Jefferson this offseason, they have a guy that is you can honestly look at him as a number one. He's really stepped up these last few weeks and is doing his thing.
Yeah, he's been fun to watch. But Kirk Cousins was dialed in.
I love Kirk.
We didn't Kirk Cousins. Yeah, sorry. We didn't get the primetime Kirk Cousins meltdown like we have normally seen, which was actually fun to watch. As an Eagles fan, I'm glad the Niners lost. Yeah, I'm glad you had the ticket, but
all right, well,
you got to go with your gut.
Let's address the elephant in the room because I've been dying to talk about this. Before we even get into the game, I want to show an absolute maybe the laziest list that Adam Brenneman has put out to date. And it's not, I'm going to share my screen again. And then I have some stuff for you here. This is hands down the laziest list I've ever seen in my entire life. Adam did a dudes of the decade. He included Saquon Barkley, Micah Parsons, Mike Gesicki, and Trace McSorley. So I didn't do an entire deep dive on this entire list because I didn't want to spend that much time on it. But I looked up Micah's stats against Ohio State when he was there. He played them twice, I believe, and he had 1 assist, and a half a sack.
Yeah, that's
that's
not worthy of being number 5.
So not worthy to be number 5 at all. And my dudes of the decade, real quick, I didn't have you do anything. I just picked 2 guys. I picked Braxton Miller. He went 3-1 versus Penn State. He scored 11 touchdowns, had 478 passing yards, 307 rushing yards, 48 receiving yards. And honestly, we have to show this iconic moment real quick. This is what I'm talking about when you have a dude of the decade and you think of like iconic moments like this.
Yeah, this was pain for me. Yeet.
Miller dances.
Skirt. Yeah. Yeah, that hurts.
What is that? Is that in the end zone of the student section? It looks like it, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you do that in front of the student section at Penn State on the road. God, dude, what a class. He always showed up against Penn State. even when he was a receiver, he caught a touchdown in that last year when he switched positions. That's somebody who I think of who dominated the matchup. And the real person who should have been on his list and deserves a shout out more than anybody that he put on there is an obvious one. He's the only person that actually sealed a Penn State game in the last decade for them. Mm-hmm. The best play of all time.
Yeah. This play was amazing. I was at this game. I ended up on the field at the 50-yard line after we won. It was phenomenal.
Like this touch, like what
as good as it gets. Probably the best play that I've ever witnessed in Penn State history. And I'm individual play is my point there. Like obviously winning a Rose Bowl is pretty cool as a whole, but that play right there is probably the best one that I've ever witnessed.
Yeah, and I just those are the two that really stuck out to me when I was even just like, I didn't really put in a ton of research. I was going to do JT Barrett's performance. He snapped his ankle one year and didn't get to play against Penn State. So I thought Braxton Miller kind of stuck out a little bit more just from every single time he played Penn State, he absolutely showed up. And then obviously the person who won the only game of the decade for them, he wasn't the only person, but he made kind of a game sealing decision for them, was Grant Haley. So shout out to those guys, and that list is awful.
Yeah, I actually tweeted at Adam as well, and I know that I'm not the only person that said this, but the defensive end from last year's game, JT Tuimoloau, yeah. I'm not sure how you say his name, but I mean, he had 2 sacks, 2 interceptions, a touchdown, a forced fumble, and a fumble recovery.
Crazy. That's a crazy.
You can't draw it up any better than that if you're a defensive end. And he pretty much won them the game.
Yeah.
So yeah, that guy definitely should have been on that list. I mean, that guy probably had, outside of a quarterback, he probably had the best individual game out of anybody on Ohio State within the last decade. If I had to go off the top of my head,
I definitely respect that. And I think that that stat line definitely spoke measures. And I mean, it's the same guy who kind of balled this past game, right? Too.
Yeah, just everybody on Ohio State looked good this game. So
real quick,
I'm trying to push it out of my memory.
Real quick, before we get into this, Franklin's record 1-9 versus Ohio State, 0-10 on the road versus top 10 teams, and 3-16 versus top 10 teams since his time at Penn State. Absolute heartbreaker of a loss. Honestly, in my opinion, I felt as trying to be as unbiased as possible, because I do hate Penn State. I felt as if this was really their time to go and attack this matchup and get a win, because their quarterback hasn't been playing that well. Didn't think Ohio State's defense would show up the way that they showed up. And everybody entirely way too early crowned Drew Aller as the guy. He looked shell-shocked out there, like literally shell-shocked.
Yeah, I mean, you're accurate with all of those points. It was really frustrating to watch that offense. I'm right there with you with your comment about how I didn't think Ohio State's defense was going to come out and play like that. I also think that offense just lacked creativity. There was no they did a very bad job of getting their 2 best players the football in matchups that they were the better player in. So like Nicholas Singleton and Katron Allen are the 2 best players on that Penn State offense. And there was no creativity as far as getting those guys in space, getting those guys one-on-one matchups. And it was just really, really bland. It was bland to watch. And it was frustrating, because I think this was a great opportunity for Penn State to go in there and win against what seems to be a lesser Ohio State team than most years. And they didn't do that. I still think that defense is probably a top 5 defense in the country. I knew coming in that Marvin Harrison was going to have his yards, probably have a touchdown, but
he dominated.
I still think that defense is really, really good.
It is
but
really,
you
really
can't win
good.
a football game when you don't convert a third down.
Listen,
so there's that.
I definitely agree with you to some point of the offensive coordinator probably needs to have some sort of accountability, but even like Drew Aller throwing like crossing routes or like underneath routes that like should have been completions, he just like,
he looked shook. Yeah.
He was like second guessing himself. He was like his throwing motion on a couple of passes looked like he was like trying to like lob it almost like go upwards with it.
Yeah.
I'm not too sure what happened with him. And I mean, you kind of feel for him. I mean, I spent some time with him during the summer. He's a super cool guy, nice kid. And to see him in the presser, like afterwards, like crying, being like, yeah, like I sucked today. Like that hurts. But I mean, it's nice to see somebody take accountability, like actual accountability. And it's
at a point, be growing pains.
This is a question that I want to ask you, because I've been saying this for literally years. I have said for the past couple years that I think that Penn State should attempt to move on from James Franklin. And if the right guy isn't out there, he's not out there, and don't force it. But if you're feeling like you can get an upgrade at the head coaching position to go out, because listen, it's great that Penn State can be UMass and Delaware and like all these schools. For me personally, I don't care about those games. When you go against the cream of the crop in the division, at some point you need to win a matchup, and you don't have to dominate the matchup. But like I said, I think I texted you, was like, Penn State has won 4 matchups versus Ohio State in the last 20 years. That's not even a rivalry at this point. Ohio State just dominates the matchup.
Yeah. So to answer your James Franklin question, I thought about this like a lot. And at first I was like, let's get rid of him. But thinking back, like I thought about this a lot this weekend after the game. I just don't know what the upgrade looks like. Buying him out would be very expensive. And if there is a better option, then I'm all for considering it.
Let's say money doesn't matter. Let's say money doesn't matter. Like whatever, fuck money. Like
the money part is at like 20% as to where I'm at with this. I'm 80% of if there's somebody better, then sure. I think that there has to be a time where you look in the mirror and say, is this as good as Penn State's going to be under James Franklin? And I think we are at that point where the answer is yes. I don't think that they're going to be any better than 10-2, like primarily every year. But I also don't know if the grass is always greener on the other side, because I don't know who the better option is going to be.
So I heard a few names. Utah's head coach.
I love him.
Russillo went on a pretty big rant about him today and kind of said that he's like that guy, and gave some really good, the other guy on the podcast kind of gave some really good observations of some talent that he's brought into Utah over the years who are low ranked guys, and kind of turn them into real gamers, and they have like a real identity, and like they're always tough. And that is true with these Utah teams. And then another name that I heard, which doesn't really excite me too much, is Cliff Kingsbury, which I don't know why anybody would want to hire Cliff Kingsbury. And I don't think Cliff Kingsbury is the type of guy that wants to even reside in State College, Pennsylvania. That's like the last place he wants to be.
Yeah, that guy's either going to be in Southern California or Miami.
Yeah, he doesn't. He does not want to be anywhere else.
No, I mean, I like the guy from Utah a lot. He's put together some pretty good teams. Their defenses are always really good. I just don't. I don't know if that's a step up. Is my only thing. Maybe. I mean, that might probably realistically be a horizontal move. I mean, it's not like Utah's playing is winning Pac-12 championships year in and year out.
Yeah. I think it's
so
probably
I
more
don't know.
about I think more about what they're probably taking into accountability is the ability to attract a certain type of player, and the way that he recruits, he's getting lesser talent to kind of outperform their expectations. And maybe if you put him in a position where he is like at a Penn State with more money, more care about the football team, etc.,
Bigger brand,
that he might be able to get that premier talent and even turn that premier talent and take him up a notch, is kind of my thought process of why he could potentially be a better option.
Yeah, I mean, I don't hate that thought process. I don't know. I don't
listen. I'm just
know enough about him.
I'm just throwing it out there. We don't need to.
Yeah.
I don't. I know it's been listen, you didn't have a terrible weekend because of the Eagles. We'll get into that, but just wanted to touch on the Penn State game. Is there anything else that you want to talk about from the Penn State game, or have you said your piece? You feel good about it, or go ahead?
The whole narrative of like Penn State can still kind of control their own destiny is bothering me, because I think Michigan's going to absolutely dog walk them. Michigan is just going to run down their throat and just dominate them on both sides of the football, or on the offense and defensive line, I think. So I hate hearing that, even though, sure, it's true. If they go and beat Michigan, and I know it's at home, and Penn State usually plays Michigan pretty well at home and has won against them at home, I just don't see it happening.
I respect
but
that.
Other than that, that's all I got.
Hey, honestly, what an amazing feeling talking to a Penn State fan and them being completely realistic, because there were some Penn State fans and still some Penn State fans on my timeline who are completely fucking delusional. So thank you for some good analysis and being clear-headed coming into this.
Yeah, I mean, it's unfortunate that they probably will just be 10-2 for like the longest time, but I will be optimistic going into a season, but I ultimately know that the only two games on their schedule that matter every single year are Penn State and Ohio State. And if you can't win one of those games at the very least, then it doesn't matter.
Yeah. Like I said, I would have loved to see them go out and beat Ohio State. I texted J-Mac about it, and he kind of had the same feeling I did going into the game. He was like, bro, like, Penn State might sit on them. Like, they might play some really good defense and really run the football well. And kind of, I felt like it, I thought it would have been a close game, but I kind of thought they would control the game. Obviously the massive turnover for a touchdown, the fumble for a touchdown would have absolutely swung everything. But honestly, it doesn't matter. It got called back. It really hurt. I was a holder of a ticket of their money line. So
yeah,
the right bet was Ohio State. They absolutely dominated, plain and simple.
Yeah.
Yep. The next thing I want to talk about, which is kind of goes off of the first point that we brought in, not the Taylor Lautner thing, but the calm down about the quarterback play. Like, I'm also now seeing Caleb Williams is not good. Caleb Williams is this. Caleb Williams is that. It's completely fine, but if Caleb Williams was not on this USC team, they'd be awful. So
they'd be terrible.
So I don't want, for the rest of time and forever, like, the way that Caleb Williams is viewed by the NFL and his prospect is like, he is the most high-end prospect, like greater than Andrew Luck in the last 10, 15 years, which we've talked about already. So even though he's having a little rough 2-game stretch, he could have a rough rest of the season. Everybody's going to feel the exact same way about him. Caleb Williams is absolutely talented and extremely special, and he is going to dominate the next level probably.
Yeah, my whole thing about this is just he has to play Superman on offense, and in order for them to win football games, because of how bad their defense is. And if you have a guy that's going to play Superman, you're going to make mistakes and you're going to turn the football over because you feel like you have to take shots and you have to create opportunities for your team to go down and score the football. And you feel like you might have to score points every drive. And I totally get that. It sucks to see him not play well because I think we're both fans of him as well. And we want to see the kid play well, but that's just part of what happens when you're on a team that's not that great.
It's the game, bro.
Mahomes was on Texas Tech, and it's not like he was playing his ass off every single play. And
he has nowhere close to the career accolades in college that Caleb Williams has.
I'm not worried about Caleb Williams. I'm right with you. I think he'll be fine. I think about it this way. Probably 20 teams in the NFL, if they had a chance of taking the number 1 pick, they'd probably take Caleb Williams.
Yeah, and that's the thing. There's teams in the NFL right now who are actively tanking, trying to get the number 1 spot to acquire Caleb Williams. He is that premier of a talent. Just had some people this weekend telling me otherwise, and social media, obviously. Yeah. So they're wrong, respectfully, and this, no disrespect, you're wrong. So somebody else like Bo was like, you've been wrong about draft prospects before. I was like, listen, I thought that Bryce Young would be a little bit better than CJ Stroud. CJ Stroud's balling on a good team in a good situation. Bryce Young is on a bad team and struggling, getting his dick kicked in every single week. But a 7-game sample size does not indicate their entire career. So there's a lot of ball left to be played, and there's people that get paid millions and millions of dollars at that absolutely whiff on quarterback prospects because Steve Keim took Josh Rosen in the first round.
Yeah. Yeah. We also don't get paid to do that. So we can easily be wrong.
And it not matter.
And it doesn't matter a bit. So
the next thing I want to talk about is, and I sent it to you this morning because I wanted you to kind of catch up on it if you didn't see it, was that John Morant story that got released on ESPN.
Yep.
And it kind of dove a little bit deeper into the situation with John Morant. And what I thought was interesting is the organization kind of allowed this article to come out. And on top of it, they gave direct quotes, not any names or anything like that, but kind of gave Braxton Holmes and Tim McMahon from ESPN like a real timeline of what was going on with John Morant during this downfall. It's called "Then the Alligators Got Him." Inside John Morant's 18-month downfall. In this article, it's extremely interesting, the timing of everything, where you have the organization meeting with him for 8 months, trying to get him under control, and then the laser at the Indiana Pacers bus gets shined at them from a gun, which, by the way, is still ridiculous. Then he flashes a gun on IG Live. Then he does it again. And then a story comes out where somebody disrespects his mom at the mall, and he runs down with a group of people and threatens the guy's life. Owners
beats up a kid at his house.
And then
playing pickup basketball with a 17-year-old kid. I mean, Giles, what, 24, 25?
I guess. And
that 17-year-old must have been giving him buckets and chirping him.
Giving him hell.
He's going and beating him up.
And another thing that really stuck out to me was they interviewed business owners in the area that kind of gave a little bit of insight, even like at a restaurant where the owner felt like disrespected because Ja got into a fight with some random dude and like threatened his life. It's just like,
do you think they interviewed a strip club owners down there?
No doubt.
Yeah, I think so too. That's what I think. The cover was just local business, and rather than actually
real quick, what the fuck is wrong with Ja? And like, what is your? I know it's like a deep question, but like, what? When you read that, like, what was your takeaway, and like, how did that like make you feel?
So, I love watching John Morant, And I think the one thing that makes it really difficult for the Memphis Grizzlies right now is that when he plays, he is still playing at an elite level. So that's why they're willing to put up with all this shit. I think even if he was playing at just a mid-tier level, there's no way, and that's pretty obvious, I think, that he would be still on this team.
Yeah. That's such a fair assessment.
But I mean, I think I just don't understand the thought process of Ja Morant in terms of like, why does he feel like he needs to do all of this shit? He was never in this situation growing up. Is it just being in Memphis? Like, why would you put yourself in the scenario? You have all this money, you can hire security, so you don't have to worry about anything. And like, you don't need a gun as an NBA player. At your home, maybe if you don't have 24/7 security for the sake of protecting your house, sure.
But, have a gun. Yeah, whatever. I don't care about that.
Like, there's no need for you to just be wheeling and dealing on an IG Live, just riding around. He's probably going to waffle shop. I mean, what are we doing?
I thought it was
frustrating.
Extremely interesting.
Really frustrating.
I thought it was extremely interesting when they interviewed some scouts and said that during the draft process, they interviewed everybody, because you obviously know how it goes when you're about to get drafted by $1 billion organization. They really do their research, obviously. And he has never had any sort of issue, and everybody spoke so highly of him. It just seems like a situation where he gets this money and he just turned into a complete fucking dickhead.
Yeah. I do have a question for you. Were these guys that he was hanging out with when he got to Memphis, they were like his childhood friends and shit?
Apparently, yes.
I think so. Okay.
Yes.
So yeah, it's just a classic case of he got all this money and just decided to do whatever he wanted, which is, I mean, you better get your mind right, because you've gotten so many chances. You've fucked up 7 times within like a 10-month span.
Yeah.
Like, that's crazy. You just have to be not even like thinking about what you're doing.
Bro, the craziest shit ever is when he did the first IG Live thing, and I was like, all right, he was fucked up in a strip club. It happens. Then, like, I remember, like, I woke up in the morning one summer day, I think it was, and it was like another video of him flashing a gun. I was like, he's just stupid. Like, he's genuinely just dumb. And like the fact that like he doesn't have anybody in his life that's real enough to actually like look at him and be like, dude, you're actually being a complete dumbass. Or I'm even really shocked about, like, I feel like the NBA shit on it, but I feel like the infrastructure of the NBA, like the guys being like close together and like kind of like bigging each other up and holding each other accountable is like kind of like a real thing. And like the fact that like Ja doesn't listen to like any of the OGs of the game is like by far the most concerning thing in my head.
Yeah, I mean, you had Shaq and like Charles Barkley and all those guys like on TNT, and those are just to name a few. I'm sure there's others, but I can't currently think of them. Just being like
Steven Jackson, Matt Barnes,
like the guys from All the Smoke. I'm sure Zach Randolph has even said something, because Zach Randolph was in a similar situation when he was drafted by Portland, and
definitely
he got his shit straight. And I mean, we saw the type of career that Zach Randolph had. He's beloved in Memphis.
Yeah.
I think the saddest part was just the one business owner being like, yeah, it's sad to see this, because a lot of kids look up to him, and the city of Memphis needs
some positivity,
like a role model and a positivity from this guy. Like, sometimes things people have, all that some people have is basketball, and like to see your idol just getting in trouble constantly, like that's gonna
nothing
affect you too. Like, think about all the kids that play basketball in Memphis. They're like, yeah, we like finally have somebody that's really good at basketball that we can look up to, and he's doing all this dumb shit like that. It's just a bad example to set on a city that could use some positivity.
I guess I guess probably my next question is, because this is how I felt about it reading it. It seems to be that the Grizzlies are putting this out, and there is a true timeline on his time with the Grizzlies left. I could see them kind of in a mood to move off of him, because I feel like they're probably kind of done with the Ja Morant experience.
Yeah, I think that them allowing this article to come out is their way of saying this is our last straw, and if you don't get your shit together, as unfortunate as it would be because he's still playing at an elite level, we can't have this. Now, I do want to see in that article. I remember seeing that Derrick Rose and Marcus Smart would be like willing to help, but obviously not babysit, because you shouldn't have to babysit a 25-year-old, but
a grown ass fucking man.
Yeah, I think having those two dudes in that locker room will help. Sorry. I had KCP first bucket scorer, and Anthony Davis just scored. But another kind of just branching off of this is I just got a notification from ESPN about Mikey Williams, like that.
Oh yeah,
elite high school prospect who's going to Memphis. Additional felony counts in this shooting case. Like, that kid's 17.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
With a bag too. Like, it's not like he doesn't have money. He's like a Puma
deal.
Yeah, he's a Puma athlete. He's doing a lot. I'll tell you what, absolute disappointment out of Zion and Ja, who seem to be the next two big young stars in the NBA, and both of them are absolutely have pissed away their reputation at this point. Hopefully they're able to kind of
get it together.
Zion's is like, he just seems like a really weird guy, and
yeah, he does.
Like,
he does. He's so
like
weird.
he just does. Like, he just seems like he's got some stuff going on in his personal life, which is fine. Like, everybody does, but like, dude, like paying fucking porn stars to like live with you and stuff like that. Like, it's just a bad look, man. Like, just get your shit together. And like, I like both of those players a ton. And like I said, hopefully they can get their stuff together.
Yeah. Yep. I'm right there with you.
Next thing, I was 0-2 again in the survivor pool. The Chargers looked bad against the Chiefs. They just couldn't get it going. And then the Bills absolutely laid an egg, which is the funniest thing, because we literally sat here and were like, they need to do something. Like, they don't look good. Like, they're having too many injuries. And then they go out and like get handled by the Patriots, who were dead, and they had the ball moved up and down on them, no problem.
Yeah, that was very wild to see, because I thought even the very least that the defensive line would be okay. But that game was surprising, especially because the Bills have recently been just owning the Patriots outside of that one windstorm game.
Literally, but I saw since Josh Allen's got there, he's beaten the Patriots by 12 points every single time besides that wind game. And then the morning I woke up and I saw the line was at 9.5, and I didn't touch it. Then I went and I got breakfast, and I came back and I looked at my phone again, and the line was at like 7.5. And I was like, that is so weird, bro. I texted Andrew and I said major line movement for the Patriots. I said I wouldn't be shocked if the Patriots covered that number, or they just won outright, and they went and won outright.
Yeah, I also think that we didn't realize that it was the Bill Belichick 300 win opportunity, and it's been like quietly, that for 4 weeks. Oh, hold on, I wasn't done. And that he also quietly signed an extension the same week.
No, like, why? It got announced that he quietly signed a contract extension in the off season.
Oh, well, why'd they pick this week to do it?
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's interesting. I think the reasoning for why they put that report out was to kind of say, like, hey guys, like, we know where we're at as a football team. You guys might have thought differently, we have a plan. So that's kind of the way I took it, where people were panicking. Some reports came out like Bill Belichick's on the hot seat, and then boom, the Patriots automatically put out like, no, Bill actually signed a quiet extension in the offseason to keep him here longer. We have a plan going forward. That's the way I looked at it.
I mean, I'll be interested to see what that plan actually is, because today they released Malik Cunningham, who they signed a 3-year deal with like 2 weeks ago. So I'm not really sure what that move is, but I'm also not in a front office of the Patriots. So
who were your two teams? I forget.
I had the Browns and the Broncos.
They both won.
Feels good.
Good job.
I actually bet on the Broncos.
Nice.
I took them in, I think it was Seattle.
Yeah, man. Packers suck.
They do.
My two picks for this week are the Panthers and the Broncos.
Okay. Let me write that down.
Man, I don't know. I just want to see the Panthers win a football game, so I'm picking them. They're due to win one.
Panthers, Broncos.
Broncos play the Chiefs again, so I'm just going to go for it again.
Great. Who do the Colts got this week? Because this week. I didn't take the Giants, Texans, Patriots, Dolphins. I'm gonna take. I wanted to take the Titans, but Will Levis and Malik Willis are starting, so that kind of sucks. I'm gonna take the Colts against the Saints.
Nice.
And then I will take the Ravens against the Cardinals.
Nice. If you listened to the show last week, we gave out the Jags plus 100 money line. We gave out the Falcons money line. I gave out the Ravens -3. And I said the Dolphins, but I actually I said the under hit, and then I said the Eagles as well. I said the Dolphins, I switched to the Eagles, and then I had that Saquon JT over and both of them to score a touchdown. Had a good weekend gambling. Yeah, we were hot.
I also had the Giants in that. I had the Giants last week, and they won outright too.
Fuck yeah. So I guess the first game that I kind of want to talk about is the Ravens absolutely shit stomping the Lions. I saw that line at the beginning of the week. You read it to me. I automatically said that's a trap line. Felt weird about it. Still kind of stayed off of it. Then I saw that a ton of public money. I saw the Lions were like the most bet public underdog of the entire week. The most bet money line. It had the Ravens written all over it. I guess on top of that too is you kind of finally saw the Ravens offense like fully click, and shout out to Sheil Kapadia from the extra point with Ben. He gave out this stat today. The Ravens offense is top 5 in offensive DVOA, and the Ravens defense is they have the best defensive success rate and second in EPA per drive. So on both sides of the ball, which it's obvious when you watch the Ravens play, they have a very elite offense, or a very elite defense, but that offense is extremely slept on. And Lamar Jackson is coming for another MVP. He is balling this season.
Yeah, he went off this weekend. That's really all there is to it. I mean, I did not think it was going to be this big of a blowout. I'm still not worried about the Lions. I still think they're really good.
Yeah.
I think this just leads me to believe that the Ravens might be better than I thought they were. I think that they're probably right up there now with like the Chiefs as far as one of the best teams in that AFC. I don't think Lamar Jackson's ever lost to an NFC.
He's like 16-1.
Yeah, he is phenomenal against that division. So that probably should have been something that I took into account as well, but it is what it is. Lamar went crazy. Mark Andrews had a good game, 4 catches, 63 yards, and 2 tutties. Zay Flowers, 4 catches, 75 yards. Gus Edwards was probably his best game of the year. I mean, he had an 80-yard catch and an 80. What do you have? 2 touchdowns?
I'm not sure.
Either way, 38.
I cashed that bet so early I switched the game.
Either way, 38-6. Not worried about the Lions. Not. I think the Ravens need to be taken a little more serious after this game.
Yeah, I think that I'm a big Lamar fan. I'm a massive Lamar truther. I think he's one of the best quarterbacks that we have in the league. I saw the stat today too. Lamar Jackson, 95.9 passing grade on throws past the sticks, first in the NFL. He's the real deal. There's really not much more to say about it. Lamar, literally, he had the offensive line actually gave him time, and then on top of it, the receivers were actually catching the balls that he was throwing to them. And Lamar, when he has time in that pocket, he will absolutely dice your secondary apart. And then on top of it, he's an elite playmaker when he has to be on his feet. Lamar's literally up there for me. I think that he kind of, I know that the MVP conversation is going to change weekly, but he definitely is up there in the top 4 now for the MVP conversation, with Brock Purdy having kind of 2 duds in a row.
Yeah, I just want to see Lamar. I mean, he had a phenomenal game. He had 300 plus yards and 3 touchdowns. Mm-hmm. I mean, I don't need to see that every single week, but I want to just see him still remain to play at that high level. But I mean, part of that is having your receivers catch the football, which didn't happen the other week. So that was good to see.
Yeah.
They've got the Cardinals, Seahawks, Browns, and Bengals all coming up. So
I'm telling you right now,
games are going to be.
I know we're going to talk about it, but I'm telling you right now, the Ravens and the Cardinals game is going to somehow end up being a close game. And then everybody's going to be off the Ravens next week, because that's the cycle. A good team dominates, then they go out and lose, then everybody's off of them, and then they're on another team. So that's kind of my early prediction for that next week. We'll get into that. But like I said, the Eagles lost to the Jets, which is the next game that I want to get into. The Eagles lost to the Jets, and then they came out this week and put on an absolute masterclass from a football game and and from the coaching perspective. The Eagles showed everybody, and I was kind of all over this. I said for everybody to stop panicking. The Eagles are the absolute real deal, and showed that if they really want to, they can absolutely control every single aspect of a football game.
Yeah, I told you that my thought process coming into this game was, if they get their guys back and healthy, that I think they go out and win. My only real nervousness was not having their starters. I thought the Eagles were the better team. They showed that on both sides of the football, holding the Dolphins to 45 rushing yards, making Tua make decisions, getting to him and making him get rid of the football faster, mess up his timing. Only giving up 10 points to that offense is very impressive. And they got reinforcements on the way. They got Kevin Goyard bag on the way. Great move, Howie.
Crazy.
So I feel great after that win. The only issue that I have was hearing that Jalen played through an injury. But it's good that he was able to play through it and made it through the other side. Just something to monitor, I guess, moving forward. I don't know when it happened, but
I think Jalen's been banged up all season, in my personal opinion. A report came out earlier in the year that he is dealing with a shoulder injury, and he is dealing with some sort of leg injury as well. I just think Jalen Hurts is tough as fuck, and he's going to play regardless, so it doesn't really matter. I just think that's the kind of player he is, and might bite him in the ass, or he might look like an absolute dog at the end of the season. But my biggest takeaway from that game is that last drive was amazing. And I don't know if there is a team that when you're in a situation like that, that's going to be able to stop them, because you essentially are playing like they're playing every single first down is like 1st and 9, because
I saw that.
They're literally able to get this brotherly shove off at any point. It is, but they are by far the most unstoppable team doing it, not even close, obviously. And watching them kind of like slowly kind of restrict the Dolphins like a snake and like absolutely kill them was, I don't think I've seen that impressive of a drive in a long time.
Yeah, I mean, going for it on 4th and 1 on your own like 25-yard line, that's a big fuck you. If you're as an offense, like, hey, we're better than you up front, and we're just gonna move you out of the way. And I mean, that's as good as it gets from an offensive line perspective, as far as doing your job. And it was a great drive. It was.
And man, the cap off that drive with the Jalen Hurts deep shot to AJ Brown was a cherry on top. I mean, Jalen stood in the pocket, got absolutely wrecked, delivered an absolute dot to AJ Brown, and of course he comes down with it because he is a top 2 receiver in the NFL. Man, that guy's special.
Yeah, I saw RG3 tweet out that is it time for us to consider AJ Brown in the MVP conversation? I mean, I don't know, but just the fact that people are bringing it up is crazy. It's been 6 games where he's had 125 plus receiving yards in a row, 2 other dudes to do that. And I mean, one of them being Calvin Johnson, which is rare air. So it's fun having a receiver on your team that's phenomenal and can just go ball out week in and week out.
Definitely good for the Eagles, and the Titans definitely need to get investigated because they are giving them all their best players, and it's interesting.
Yeah, I don't know what's happening there. Like Howie must have the absolute worst blackmail on somebody in that organization.
It's a new GM, but whatever. I mean, they gave them AJ Brown, which turned into what's his name? Can't even think of his name. The wide receiver from Arkansas. I don't know why I remember where he went to college, and then that's it. So I just think that they got absolutely fleeced on that, obviously.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I'm drawing a blank on his name too. And then for them to get Kevin Byard is just nuts.
Byard. Yeah, he's super solid, and he's got 2 more years on the contract, so he's got this year, and they have him locked down for all next year as well. So amazing trade. Eagles are obviously in win now mode. Fuck yeah, great trade. Good for them. Who goes out and absolutely fucking shit pumps the Dolphins and then goes and trades for a better safety. Like, amazing.
Yeah, that's what it's all about.
I guess that's it for this section, unless if you have anything else that you want to talk about. I have to piss, so go ahead. Again, I'll be right back. I gotta piss bad.
It's fine with me. I guess I kind of want to touch on this Steelers game a little bit. Steelers-Rams, 24-17 Steelers. That first half was just pretty ugly in general for that Steelers offense. It pretty much looked like their normal self. But then whatever happened at halftime of that game, Matt Canada actually decided to be a competent offensive coordinator and started making play calls, and they actually worked, which if you're a Steelers fan, that's got to be pretty refreshing. You also got a pretty good performance out of Najee Harris. I mean, he finally got in the end zone. And then Jaylen Warren too. I think that they need to really start mixing in those two. Like, I think Jaylen Warren probably needs to get some more touches, maybe even it out a little bit more, kind of like a Thunder and Lightning type deal when it was Rondale White and Reggie Bush back at USC. I think you got to start incorporating Jaylen Warren into the offense a little bit more. George Pickens, another big game, 5 catches, 107 yards. 8 targets. If I'm a Steelers fan, I want to have I need George Pickens to get 12 targets a game. That guy's a beast, and he's the best player on your offense. So you got to figure out ways to get the ball in his hand as much as possible. Yeah, that's it. I mean, another classic Steelers game, underdog. They go out to Los Angeles, pretty much a home game for them too, and just pull it off.
Yeah, Puka Nakakakua had a really big game again. I picked him up in fantasy. So
8 for 154.
Yeah, he's balling. But yeah, I think that the Steelers did their thing. I mean, bro, I hate the Steelers, so I don't really like talking about them too much. Complete biased. But yeah, they keep finding ways to win these games, and they're probably going to finish 9-8.
Yep, that's exactly what I said to a guy that I work with who's a Steelers fan. They pulled it off again. Nobody thought they would, and they'll probably end up 9-8. So
yeah, bro,
it's the way it goes.
Bro, this is completely random, and I'm sorry to like throw this in there, but bro, did you hear about the Lil Baby video?
No, I actually saw a tweet or two, but it was like, what did Lil Baby do? And then it was a face of like a really shook dog that was like,
listen,
I didn't see what actually happened.
Listen, I'm not going to talk about it.
Did you hear about what Dwight Howard did?
Yeah, that's been out forever. That story's been out forever.
I didn't know that it was like official though until today.
Yeah, that story
it made it to court. Or made it to court.
That story's been out for like years. Like I've heard about that before. Listen,
doesn't Dwight Howard have like 3 kids?
Yeah. Who knows, man? But listen, maybe go on X and search Lil Baby, and we'll talk about it next week. But anyway, the next thing, don't do it now. The next thing that the next thing I think that we should kind of touch on. I don't know. Is there any games else that you want to touch on? I don't really have anything else.
No, I'm good on that.
Keep thinking about that Taylor Lautner video. Go ahead. We can go to the to this week's games if you want.
Yeah. Do you want to just pull them up on FanDuel like you did last week?
Oh yeah. Sorry, I've been drinking.
I know. Well, you have a problem. I got this Lakers Nuggets game on over here in the background. It was a ring ceremony night for them.
Who, the Lakers?
Seriously.
Sorry.
Right now, Denver's up 29-20, but that's all right. So much time.
Some would say not enough.
There's 3 quarters left.
Exactly. All right. Let's get into it. You want to read them off?
Yep. Buccaneers at Bills. Bills are 8.5-point favorites.
I think after last week, we can kind of have a little bit of a feel that the Bills probably shouldn't be favored by 8.5 points to anybody currently with the state, how their roster's currently constructed. So I think probably taking Tampa Bay would be the smart side, but I could also seeing it be the public side, but I don't know. What do you think?
I mean, I still think the Bills are a good football team. They're just not playing well right now. I mean, the Buccaneers are just brutal to watch on offense. I mean, they have like one big play to Mike Evans, and their defense didn't look anything special. I can see this line eventually sliding down, I think, a little bit. And I think at that point is when I would probably take the Bills. I think 8.5 as it stands might be a little too much, but I think they probably end up winning by a touchdown.
Cool. Next game here, they're begging me to take the Commanders, man. Like,
the Commanders are a very bad football team.
They are, but like that's why they're gonna win this game.
And the Eagles are the second best team in the league as far as against the spread. First best team. They've lost one. They haven't covered one time.
Listen, I don't know how I feel about this game yet, but my first initial feel is probably the Commanders money line.
Well, I'm taking the Eagles.
I respect that. I just think that
minus 6.5.
I think the 6 is a lot, and I think the Eagles are due to drop another one here.
I don't think it'll be this one. I think it might come later when they have that stretch of Chiefs, Bills, Niners.
Next game here, Jaguars, Steelers. I don't know, man. This seems to be a situation where I feel like it's going to be Pittsburgh are underdogs at home. People are going to be talking about Mike Tomlin being an underdog at home. That's going to be the talk of the day, of the week. The Jags continue to pull these games out. I might not love 2.5 for them, but I definitely like the Jaguars money lines. The money line here, they're going to go in and beat and handle the Steelers. They're a good football team.
I'm kind of thinking that same thing too. But
same thing.
I hate betting against Mike Tomlin at home as an underdog. He always freaking finds a way to pull it off. But then I kind of got to just remind myself that that happens a lot against the teams that he plays constantly, like the Browns, Ravens, teams in their division. I think I like the Jags minus 2.5.
I respect that.
I think I like the Steelers at 2.5 too much that I'm gonna flip my take on it.
That's why I want to kind of, like I said, it's hard to do these right away. Like last week, the public got murdered, like literally murdered. So I'm probably thinking, I'm kind of leaning that way for the rest of the year. The public was getting extremely lucky, so I'm probably going to be going against the public, and it seems to me, at least, just looking at this, that the Steelers are probably the public side in this situation.
I think so too. I think that my thought process is probably what a lot of the public is going to think. Like Mike Tomlin at home is an underdog. Like we're going to take the Steelers. I think that's probably what the public ends up thinking. But I like that pick way too much that I'm going to take the Jaguars.
I'm going to take Jags money line. Saints Colts. Honestly, I really like the Colts in this game. I know that. Actually, randomly, Minshew looked like prime Mike Vick last week. So
he did.
Like he did. Out of nowhere. But honestly, I think Derek Carr is kind of washed. So I think until they kind of get that, at least until I see a game where the offense looks prolific in a way, that I will feel a little bit more comfortable taking them. So I probably lean Colts in this situation.
Also, is anything going to happen to Chris Olave? He just got arrested for going 35 over the speed limit.
Nah.
Like, I mean, I like the Colts here. This was my elimination pick for the week anyways, but even with Chris Olave, if nothing happens.
I mean, Jordan Addison. The same thing happened to Jordan Addison. Nothing happened to Jordan Addison.
Yeah, that's fair. Okay. Yeah. Then either way, I have the Colts.
Yeah.
We saw the Saints come out last week and just look really bad on offense for like 3/4 of that game. And somehow they had a chance to win it at the end. But I don't know, if we get another Minshew performance like that, this game might get ugly.
Okay. Next game.
I don't think that's going to happen though, but I think it'll end up being close. But I still like the Colts here.
Next game, Texans, Panthers. So these are one of the situations where it reminds me of the, what's it called? The Lions, Ravens, obviously different caliber of teams, but it seems to me that like everybody's going to be like, oh, well, the Texans are good this year. The Panthers suck. Why is this line 3 points?
I think it's probably just because we're still getting 2 rookie quarterbacks, and one of them is on they're a road rookie quarterback. I know the Panthers were your pick here, but The Texans are coming off a bye, right?
Yeah, so are the Panthers.
Okay. Yeah, so both of these teams have had 2 weeks to prepare for one another. So it kind of makes sense now why that line's only at 3, because it feels like it should be a little bit more. I can't bet on the Panthers, so I'm going to take the Texans. I just haven't seen even a glimpse of hope out of that Panthers team that leads me to believe that it'll be close.
Yeah,
first quarter Panthers against the Dolphins, but can they do that for 4 quarters?
Yeah, I like the Panthers in this spot. I think they're due. I also think the Texans are due for a bad loss. They've kind of outplayed expectations so far throughout the first 8 weeks of the season. So I'm kind of looking for them to have a letdown spot. I think this line should realistically be around like 4.5, maybe 5.5, but it's not. They're begging you to take the Texans in this situation, so I'm going to take the Panthers.
That'll probably be a game that I end up staying away from just because I'm really not that confident in the Texans.
Yeah, I respect that. Next game here. This is a really weird game.
Yeah, I don't
the
even
Rams,
have any clue what to think.
The Rams Cowboys. I mean, I guess right away we can kind of take away that the Cowboys probably have the better defense and a comparative offense. I guess what I would like to see is for the Cowboys to kind of do the same thing that they did last week against the Chargers, where they actually were running plays and they looked good and they kind of played in a normal football game. I don't know
Very nice
who these people are. Live tennis odds.
We're in there.
So I'm kind of leaning towards the Cowboys, but I don't really have a side for this. I mean, the Cowboys, if they want to be taken serious, they probably should handle the Rams, but I don't know. I probably wouldn't bet this game.
Yeah, I'm going to take the Rams plus 6.5. I think they end up kind of bouncing back. And I think Cooper Kupp ends up having a big game after he was kind of quiet last week. I just think that the Cowboys are not a touchdown better than the Rams. I think this line should be a little closer, honestly.
It's fair. Falcons Titans. They are going up against the dual threat quarterbacks in Will Levis and Malik Willis. I think they're in absolute shambles, the Titans. I know that Vrabel as a dog at home is sneaky. They just traded Kevin Byard. They're playing 2 quarterbacks this week. The Falcons are actually really good. They probably should have won by 3 scores against the Buccaneers.
They should have won by 3 scores is right. They fumbled on the 1-yard line. I think it was twice?
3 times.
3 times. Yeah, that you got to have ball security there. Ball security is job security.
So I think that this is one of those situations where I would just like take the Falcons to win outright.
Yeah, I completely agree there. I just don't think either one of these quarterbacks that Tennessee's going to run out there is going to be able to string together anything. And we've seen that going dual threat quarterbacks just doesn't work. It doesn't allow anybody to get a rhythm. And it's one of my least favorite things. And it's surprising to hear that from Vrabel, because he's a good coach and this is not a good coach move.
No, it's not. And I just don't think they really know what they're supposed to be doing. I also know that they're actively shopping D-Hop, hoping to get a late round pick for him. And they're actively looking to see if there's a trade partner for Derrick Henry. They're on absolute fire sale mode. I know that we talked about a few teams that might be. The Titans didn't pop up in that conversation. But, I mean, trading away Kevin Byard for Terrell Edmonds and a fifth and a sixth is crazy. And I get that he's a little older, but they're clearly just trying to get some assets for the players that have some value for them currently.
Yeah, I think that it's probably time for them to just dive in and tank. I mean, they don't have a quarterback. their running back is on the wrong side of where you want to be as far as age goes. D-Hop still has a little bit of life left in him, but I'm sure he's not going to be too thrilled dealing with those two idiots throwing him the football every other drive. So I can't blame him for trying to get something for some of those guys. So I'm also taking the Falcons here.
Honestly, low key, this next game is going to be like kind of good.
I honestly think so too.
First thing I want to kind of touch on though is the Daniel Jones, Tyrod Taylor situation. There is absolutely zero quarterback controversy in New York. I understand the optics of it look pretty bad from Daniel Jones' perspective, where he was getting his fucking shit rocked for the first 5 weeks of the season. They looked absolutely awful. But I mean, in context, their offensive line was fresh. They were trying to figure things out. They had some serious injuries. Saquon wasn't playing. The defense looked absolutely awful. And then I think Tyrod Taylor kind of popped in at the perfect time where the defense is kind of starting to figure things out. The offensive line is getting healthier and kind of getting their feet under them a little bit more. And then you get Saquon back. There's no quarterback controversy. Whenever Daniel Jones comes back, he's going to be playing. I saw the one guy from Cowherd today. I forget his name. I think it's J-Mac or something. He was like, the young quarterback, Tyrod Taylor. Tyrod Taylor's been in the league for 12 seasons. He has been on 5 different teams. That's for a reason. He's a career backup. And when Daniel Jones comes back, he will be playing for them.
Yeah, I mean, he's 34 years old too.
Yeah.
So, I mean, he's younger in the terms of real world, but not in the NFL. I don't think there's one either. I also don't think that you're not going to pay, or you're not going to play the guy that you pay $45 million to every year. So there's that. But I also completely agree with you as far as the offensive line starting to kind of get a rhythm and the defense finally figuring their shit out. And getting Saquon back, obviously he's the best player on their team. So I think that is certainly going to help as to why they look a little bit better these past 2 weeks. Who did they play? They played the Bills and the Commanders. Yeah. I mean, do I know if Daniel Jones is going to go out there and win either one of those games? I don't know that.
Yeah.
But I think they stand probably just as good of a chance with him in there with the current construction of the team and health of the team.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't really think
you're starting to see like their players like get their feet under them. Like their defense is getting their feet under them. They're starting to play better. Jalen Hyatt looks better. He's a month into being a rookie and he's looking better. Big shock. So I just think that this team is going to go through some growing pains, and whenever Daniel Jones gets back, I actually think that they're going to be like low-key frisky. For this game, though, I don't know. I don't know how I feel about it, but I actually think it's going to be a good game. I really do.
Yeah, I do too. Another thing is I think that the public, media, everybody just kind of gets lost in, like, gets too caught up in, oh, this backup quarterback is playing really well. They're backup quarterbacks for a reason. Yes, they can still go out there and have a good game here and there. They are NFL level quarterbacks. They're still in the NFL for a reason, but they're also backups for a reason. Tyrod Taylor wouldn't start on a team, I don't think, in the NFL.
No.
And I think there's probably some other teams that Daniel Jones would start on. Probably very few, but nevertheless, I still think Daniel Jones is the better quarterback of the two.
Correct. I guess what I would do in this game is, because I do want to watch it.
Yeah,
I would probably just have a parlay for this game and just kind of enjoy it. I like probably Breece Hall overs. I like Saquon overs, and I'd probably bet both of them to score a touchdown. As far as the over under in this game, I do like the over.
I actually like the Giants money line here. I think it's just going to come down to, can this offensive line sort of stay in a rhythm and can they get Saquon Barkley the football?
He looked good last week.
He did. He looked very good. He looked healthy, which was refreshing to see. I mean, I think I'm right there with you on the over, but I think I do like the Giants here too. I think they're going to cause I mean, there's a reason that it's a 3-point spread. I think they're going to cause problems for Zach Wilson now that they're finally kind of figuring it out. I think Wink Martindale is going to blitz the fuck out of him and just make him get rid of the football at an insane pace. Otherwise, he's just going to be eating turf.
I like that. I like that take.
So yeah, I like the Giants.
Good analysis of the game. I appreciated that. Next game here, Dolphins, Patriots. Man, absolutely no clue.
Yeah, it's
after last week, it's like such a weird feeling, but I also think that there's some really key takeaways to have from the Dolphins is Jalen Phillips is back, but still not fully healthy. They're missing Isaiah Wynn. Jalen Waddle had a back injury. They don't have Teron Armstead. No Devon Achane, whatever the fuck it is.
A-Chain.
I think that the Dolphins are a little beat up, but in the eyes of like the public, the Dolphins are still the Dolphins. So my immediate lean would be Patriots plus 9.5.
See, my thing with this game is I don't really think the Eagles ran the football all that well against the Dolphins last week, and it feels like that's kind of what the Patriots need to be able to do in order to keep this game close a little bit. I mean, we saw the Dolphins go into New England and the Pats kept it close. I think I like the Dolphins. I think here in a big get back game. I think it's a different story playing in New England. I like the Dolphins to kind of bounce back here. Everybody's like, oh, these guys are frauds. Can't beat a good team. Don't think the Patriots are a good team, but
no,
they're a bad team actually, and the Dolphins beat up on bad teams. So yeah, I'm thinking the Dolphins might come out here and blow the brakes off of them.
I respect that. I just think the Dolphins may be a little too beat up to blow a team out currently with the state that it's in. I probably wait for the injury report in this game to come out and see if Waddle's playing, etc. But I know that Isaiah Wynn went to the IR. Yeah, I don't know. I think once the Dolphins get if Xavier Howard's playing again, I would probably feel a little bit more comfortable taking the Dolphins. But no Jalen Hurts, no Xavier Howard. Some of their key offensive pieces are a little banged up. I'd probably just take the large point spread. I'm not comfortable about it, but you should never feel comfortable with the bets that you're taking.
No, you want to feel as uncomfortable as possible. You should want to hate every single one of them, because it honestly doesn't matter if you like them or not.
Yeah,
it has absolutely no effect.
By the way, all these over-unders, I love all the unders. Anyway, the Vikings-Packers, bro, man, I don't know. I don't know how I feel. I know that the Packers suck, so that means that they're probably going to beat the Vikings after the Vikings just had a big win against I can't even think of who they played. Oh, the Niners. So I'd probably go Packers money line just because that's how the NFL works. The Vikings go out and shit stomp the 49ers, and then they go and lose to the Packers literally the very next week on a short week.
I bet on the Packers money line. I think it was 3 times this year, and they fucked me every time. I'm not taking the Vikings. I'm taking the Vikings.
I'm not. This is a complete stay away for me, but this. If I absolutely had to put money on the game, I would take the Packers.
Yeah, I refuse. I don't think Jordan Love is good.
He's not. He isn't. They suck. But that's why they're going to win.
They're a bad football team.
Everything that you're saying is exactly why they're going to go out and win the football game for absolutely no reason.
I can't wait for this line to go down to like a pick 'em, and then I put 30 grand on the Vikings.
That'd be electric. The next game, the Browns and the Seahawks. Love this game.
This is a tough
so
one.
much. I think that it is officially time that I think Deshaun Watson, like you said, is Lamar worth the contract? Awful bring up by you even slightly. The real conversation that is the only real conversation that needs to be had about any quarterbacks in the league is Deshaun Watson. He is a shell of himself. He looks bad. He was healthy 2 weeks ago. He chose not to play. He got cleared from concussion protocol in the last game, and Stefanski actually told him to sit on the sideline. Man, awful move by them, giving away pretty much their entire future for Deshaun Watson, and multiple teams were looking to do that. With that being said, the uncertainty of their quarterback position and how their offense is looking, Jerome Ford went down with a high ankle sprain. I like the Seahawks in this spot in Seattle.
Yeah, it's tough to play in Seattle. And I just don't know how many games, as good as that defense is, which we both agree on, I just don't know how many times you're going to be able to run a quarterback out there that can't really do a whole lot to win you a football game. I do think Kareem Hunt is a perfectly feasible backup. And we've kind of seen that. He's had 2 pretty good games back to back.
He has, but at the same time, they cut ties with him in the offseason, didn't really seem to want to re-sign him. No team in the NFL really seemed to want to sign him. He's been good in a supplementary role in this offense, but to be the true workhorse back in this offense, I don't like him in that spot. So that's kind of the run game I'm not like loving against Seattle.
I mean, I'm taking Seattle anyways, just because it's tough to win there. Oh crap, what's happening? But I also will just take the Seahawks. They're playing better ball right now.
Yeah. Devin Witherspoon, absolute monster. Love that guy so much.
I'm getting nervous for my Jalen Carter Defensive Rookie of the Year bet, just because of how much Devin Witherspoon's been balling.
He literally runs around like a chicken with his head cut off. He's elite. The next game is the Bengals 49ers. The Bengals have the opportunity to do the funniest thing possible. I absolutely love the Bengals in this spot wholeheartedly. I don't think that they're back, but I do think that they're fully healthy. I think that they're going to catch the Niners in a situation where they're not fully healthy and a little banged up. And I love the Bengals money line.
I don't know if I love the Bengals money line, but I do love, what was it, 5.5? Yeah, I'm right there. It would be tough for me to see the Niners lose 3 games in a row, I think. But the Bengals have had plenty of time to get ready.
Hey, I texted
ready for this game.
I texted the group chat. And said the Vikings +7. I love it, and I think that they're gonna go out and beat them. I texted it to like Andrew and like a bunch of other people, and everybody was like, "No way, the Niners dropped 2 straight. They just dropped 2 straight." The thing that we can kind of see with this offense, or with the Niners offense, is when they play a good defense, which the Bengals are a top 10 defense by DVOA standards this season so far. I think Lou Anarumo absolutely dials a masterclass up against Brock Purdy. I know Debo is going to be missing this game. I think Debo is low-key the X factor in this offense that kind of makes it tick. I mean, obviously Christian McCaffrey is an absolute freak, and obviously George Kittle is good, and the rest. But I think that Ayuk, I think that if the same kind of situation that we're in is Debo's a little banged up, Richardson's a little banged up, they're gonna Trent Richardson is a little banged up. I think that the Bengals are kind of catching them at a perfect time where like they're kind of a little dinged up and they're off of a bye and they're fully healthy. Like Burrow's 2 weeks more healthy. T's back from his rib injury and looking for a big bounce back for the rest of the year. I just think that they're catching them at the right time. I like the Bengals money line. Yeah,
I don't think that the Niners will lose 3 in a row, like I said, but I love the Bengals plus 5.5. So that's my take on that. I'll be taking them. I love them off of a bye, getting 2 weeks healthier. So that's always good. And they have to begin to make a push here because we see how good the Ravens are, and for whatever the reason, the Steelers can keep winning football games, and it's not like the Browns are bad either. So like that division, you're gonna have to win probably. I want to say you're going to probably have to win
10, 11 games.
I was going to say 11 or 12. Yeah. And the Bengals are going to, and also just for the fact of like, do we believe in the Bengals? This would be a game where if they do win, this is like okay, the Bengals are back. Like they're legit. Like let's
I do believe in
more serious.
I do. I shit on the Bengals to start the year just because of the health situation.
They looked bad though too, so like we were in the right for doing that.
Yeah, but their defenses looked good and they've been keeping them in it. But I do think that I do believe in the Bengals. That's kind of why I like the spot that they're in currently. So I mean, we'll see how that plays out on different sides, but not really. But we'll see. The next game, Ravens Cardinals. I brought this up earlier. They're 8.5-point favorites in the desert. Absolutely no feel for any way, shape, or form why it's going to happen. They're either going to lose this game or the Cardinals are going to cover 8.5 because that's just how the NFL works. Everybody's going to be talking about how good the Ravens are all week, how they blew out the Lions, this, that, and thing. They're probably going to be the most publicly heavy bet team this week. And then the Cardinals are going to ruin every teaser leg in America. So I think that I would take the Cardinals, and I'm going to bet this. I'm going to take the Cardinals at plus 8.5.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, rightfully so, myself and a lot of other people are high on the Ravens.
So as am I.
We're all high on the Ravens.
Yeah, I like I think the Ravens, like I said, I took the Ravens -3 last week because I thought highly of them in a situation against a really great team. It's just one of those. I'm not even thinking. It doesn't make any sense. So that's why it's going to happen.
Yeah, I totally understand that. And I think I'm kind of leaning towards that too, just because of how much I like the Ravens here.
And the over.
Yeah, I do love the over too. 44. Yeah, I'll take Cardinals and the over with you as well on this one.
That might be a lock. I like the over more than I like the Cardinals. Let's just put it that way.
So do I. As do I.
But I mean, we'll see. Next game, dude, this game sucks again. I absolutely wholeheartedly hate the Chiefs. If I see Brittany and Jackson and Taylor Swift doing handshakes in the booth again, I'm literally going to freak out. I'm so tired of it. They piss me off. I hate Travis Kelce for some reason. Like, I've always hated Mahomes. This is my least favorite team in the NFL. And I pray to God that they lose this weekend because I fucking hate them. Sorry.
So I might be leaning towards pro Taylor Swift, pro Travis Kelce. I don't really care for Jackson Mahomes or anybody else, but I think
the only person that I'm pro is Jackson Mahomes. That's it. I like Jackson, but everybody.
So you support what he did to that woman?
No, I like his TikTok dances, but you separate the art from the artist. You at a point you have to separate. Like, do you still like Kanye's music?
Oh yeah.
Okay, you still like Kanye's music. I still like Jackson Mahomes TikToks. Separate the art from the artist. So
I'm leaning into the Travis Kelce, Taylor Swift relationship, and I support them. I'm not a Swiftie, but I support them.
I knew you were trouble when you walked in. God, I hate
I
Taylor
don't know about
Swift.
you, but I'm feeling 22.
Anyway,
I'm taking the Chiefs
I'll
to the
take it.
moon.
I'm taking the over.
Chiefs win this game by 2 touchdowns.
All right, I'm taking the Broncos money line. No way that happens.
You have continued to bet on the Broncos money line with your nuclear whale parlays, and I don't think it's landed one. So
I did it
you better
once.
have a new graphic ready.
I did it one time.
You better have a new graphic ready.
There's always so much everybody always remembers the losses, but nobody
I
ever
remember your
remembers
wins.
the wins. When I had the Bears money line at plus 480, like
I remember that
when I literally texted everybody yesterday and gave out Vikings plus 7, like the underdogs are the right play. You're supposed to take the underdog, like big spread money, big point underdogs. You take them and you feel uncomfortable about it, but they hit. So that's why I like the Commanders this week. That's why I like the fucking where's the games at. That's why I like the Cardinals this week. That's why
Broncos.
I like the Broncos. It doesn't make sense, but I like them. So I'm gonna take the Broncos just strictly out of a hate pick, but I would probably feel a little bit more comfortable betting the 7.5. But I do like the over a ton in this game.
Yeah, sorry. I don't really have a. I don't think. Wait, you said you've liked all the so far every over under that we've said you liked the over, and as we were scrolling through all these games you were like, oh, unders, and now you're flipping it.
In the beginning I like the unders, but I like the over in the Cardinals game, and I like the over in this game. That's two overs.
There was another one I thought you said you liked the over in too, but either way, Bears, Chargers, love the Bears.
Dude, I hate this game, so I'm gonna take the Bears at plus 8.5. I mean, dude, I actually I might bet the Bears money line and root for it and just hope that it hits so Justin Herbert can finally get freed of the chains that are holding him down in Brandon Staley, and Brandon Staley isn't even allowed back in the locker room because I hate that guy and I want him gone. So I'm going to take the Bears at plus 8.5 this week and just pray to God that this is the Brandon Staley gets fired game. Stop going with tennis odds. Fuck.
Yeah, I hate Brandon Staley too, but I just don't think the Chargers are really that good, any good.
Yeah.
It's frustrating. And the Bears somehow looked kind of good last week, so I'm taking them.
Eberflus is back.
He might be back.
No, I'm just kidding. But I need 3 rebounds from LeBron in the second half to cash my bet.
What'd you take?
LeBron over 7.5 rebounds.
I have I don't even know. They're down 9 right now?
Yeah.
What is today?
The 24th.
I also
LeBron
to have 20 and Jokic to have 20, I think.
I also as I do on every Tuesday, I bet the Liberty half. So those are the 2 plays I have in the Liberty over.
Oh, Liberty football, gotcha.
Yeah, I mean, there's no better feeling than watching Liberty football on a Tuesday night.
They put up stupid points.
Yeah, they're good. Anyway, last game.
Raiders-Lions.
Yeah, I mean, Raiders. I feel like the Lions are in need of a bounce back situation in Detroit against a shit fucking team. I don't think Jimmy G's handsome ass is going to be playing in this game. I think this is another situation where I hope that the Lions shit pump the Raiders so McDaniels can literally not be allowed back on the team plane after the game.
Yeah. We need to free Max Crosby from the Raiders.
I think he likes being in Vegas. I just think that I just think that they need the Mark Davis with the best haircut that I've ever seen in my entire life. Low-key slept on haircut.
The best.
That is a slept on cut. But yeah, I think that they just need to take the hiring process of a coordinator and a head coach a little bit more serious. I think that they're kind of in a unique situation. I think that they are very much in the driver's seat to be in the top 3 pick to get one of those lottery tickets that we keep talking about in this year's draft with the quarterbacks. And I think they could be in a situation where get a quarterback, get a good head coach, and actually start to build something. You have really good pieces. You have really good veterans that if you have a good head coach and a good young quarterback to come in there to actually build upon something, I don't think that they're in a situation where they need to sell those assets. You keep them and have that young player kind of grow with them.
Yeah, right now they sit at 3 and 4, and they're 11th in the draft order. So they are going to probably need to start losing some games. But
Fair.
I mean, there's plenty of good quarterbacks. But if they want, I don't know. I saw a mock draft of them taking Bo Nix, which I don't feel that great about.
Bo Nix is not going to be. Listen, we'll hopefully we're still doing this and we'll be doing draft stuff. Bo Nix is not a first round quarterback at all.
I think it was just on this Tankathon website. Let me see. It might have. I think he might have been a second. I think it might have been a second round.
Okay.
Pick. I lied. This one has him taking Shadur Sanders in the second round.
Respectfully, Shadur, I don't know what he's going to do. I personally think that he would probably benefit from another year of college.
Yeah.
But I could also see him getting a first round grade and leaving. But I mean, we'll see.
Yeah, this mock draft switched up over the weekend because going in, I saw that the Patriots were going to draft him in the second round, and now it's the Raiders. Michael Penix falls to the second round in this mock draft too, and then JJ McCarthy.
I don't get, if I'm a team, and I think that we'll see this during the draft process. JJ McCarthy does not intrigue me as a prospect in the NFL even slightly. I think probably right now the top 3 guys, and it should be this way, I don't think it's really much of a debate, is Caleb Williams, Drake May, and Michael Penix is playing himself into that third quarterback slot. So that's personally what I think. I don't think that
I think a lot of teams are going to like Quinn Ewers too. That's what they have. Quinn Ewers, yeah, going ahead of Michael Penix in this one. They've got Quinn Ewers in the first round.
Yeah, like I said, I don't think that this. When you look at the top of the draft right now,
it's gonna change. We're 7 games in. It's gonna obviously change.
Yeah, for sure. NFL draft 2024. But I mean, we can look. I mean, the Bears are going to probably end up having the first pick via Carolina. I don't think that there's really much. They need a quarterback. The Cardinals aren't going to take a quarterback. The Broncos absolutely need a quarterback. It says the Giants. I don't think they probably finish that high. And then the Raiders, Patriots, Titans need a quarterback. I mean, all these teams need QBs.
Yeah.
Bro. What? And then the Packers probably need a QB as well, but who knows?
I don't know if the Packers will end up taking a quarterback, but who knows? There's plenty of time left, and
there's a lot of ball.
If Jordan Love continues to look bad, then
he looks awful.
Yeah, he does.
All right, well, that's pretty much all I have for this evening, unless if you have anything else. I want to watch this Liberty game and LeBron grabbing 3 more bounds.
Yeah, I need LeBron to score 10 points in the second half and Jokic to have 1 more.
How many does LeBron have?
He only has 10.
Okay.
But I'm going to watch that, and then I will also turn on the Phillies and Diamondbacks and actively root for the Diamondbacks.
What time does that start?
I think Bohm already hit a home run. Started at 8.
I have a future on the Philadelphia Phillies at plus 1900. to win the.
It's 1-1 in the bottom of the second, bottom second
in the World Series. So let's hope. I want that to hit. So I'm against you on the Diamondbacks.
That's very understandable.
All right, brother.
I hope you win, but I'll hope you win.
Thanks, brother. Appreciate it. Be safe.
Yep.
I'll text you.
All right.